Hello, good morning, Angel. How you doing today?
Fine, teacher, and you?
Very good, very good. Thanks God. Welcome to this session, Angel. The content that we're gonna cover today are the some social aspects like professions, vocations, and moral science, right? How we can apply these aspects in the society, okay? Here we got the objectives for these sessions, and the first one says identifies the social dimensions of professional ethics, recognizing the relationship between professional and society. Then we got analyzing the role of vocation in moral conscious in ethical professions decision making. And the last one, apply ethical principles to real or hypothetical professional situations, demonstrating awareness of their social impact. So these are the objectives, as I mentioned before, that we're gonna apply that we're gonna achieve at the end of this session. Okay. So here, as you can appreciate, we got an introduction that I would like you to read, please.
In this session, we will examine the ethical and social foundations of professional life. We will begin by analyzing the social aspect of professions, understanding that every profession exists to serve society in response to collective needs. Then we will reflect on the rule of vocation and moral consistency, recognizing that professional practice is not only technical but also deeply personal and ethical. Finally, we will explore the social dimension of professional ethics, emphasizing how professional decisions influence individuals, institutions, and society as a whole. Though the discussion of real life scenarios, the students will evaluate ethical dilemmas and consider the broader social consequence of professional actions.
Yes, yes, that's really good. Okay, thank you. So as you can appreciate there, Angel, so today we're going to reflect on what it truly means to be a professional in society, and we will also explore how every profession, okay, how every profession has a social purpose and exists to serve others, not just to earn a salary, right? So remember that when we're working in a company, in an institution, the purpose, the social purpose and exist is how we can serve to other, how we can work in collaborative team, just not just being working to earn a salary. So we also discuss how vocation and moral conscience influence the way professionals make decisions, because remember that for every profession, for every individual professions, we have to make to complete to achieve this kind of ethical principles. And remember that professional practice is not only about skills and knowledge, right? But
Right.
also about values and responsibility. And at the end of the session, we're through some real scenarios, we were going to analyze how ethical decision can positively or even negatively impact society and why social responsibility is essential in every professions. Okay. So that's are gonna be the aspects that we're gonna cover in this session. And as you know, I like to start with some speaking questions as the questions you can appreciate on the screen. I'm gonna give you 3 or 4 minutes just to scan in and skim in those questions and then give me your own opinion, right?
Right.
Okay. Let me know when you're ready, right?
I'm ready.
Okay, very good. Let's see the first question. What does it mean to be a professional in today's society?
A professional is a person who has specialized knowledge, skills, and ethical values, and use them responsibility to serve others and contribute to society.
That's the social purpose, right? To serve others.
Right. Serve
Let's see the
others.
second one. Do professionals have responsibilities beyond doing their job well?
Yeah, I think the professional must act ethically, respect others, follow laws and regulation, and contribute positively to their communities.
Yeah. Here, something important, Angel, that we have to take into considerations regarding to these questions are the moral values that we got, right? Like loyalty, integrity, the trust. Because remember that at the end, we need to consider the social consequences of our own decisions, right? Very
Right.
good. Let's see the question number three. How can a professional positively impact society?
Mhm. A professional can improve people's lives through quality work, ethical decision, innovation, education, and service to community.
Yeah, in some of the area that you mentioned, like education, it could be like the formation, right? The knowledge formation, the knowledge building that as teacher we have to build on each students. That would be the impact to society. Okay. So to develop the critical thinking on students as well. Very good. Let's see the question number four. Can a professional harm society? In what ways?
And yes, a professional can harm society through negligence, corruption, dishonesty, and unethical decision.
Yeah, that's really good. That's really good. Remember that when a person who is working in a company or in an institution, sometimes they abuse of power, right? So when they
Yeah.
abuse of this, so the corruption, as you mentioned before, start doing and negligence and so on. Very good. Let's see the question number five. Is professional success the same as ethical success? Why?
No, I think that professional success may involve achievements and recognition, while ethical success means acting with integrity and moral responsibility. Both both are important, but not always the same.
Yeah, good. So at the end, we have to combine both, right? So I don't know if you
Right.
remember in the last session that we were discussing that if we got professional ethic and personal ethics, they are interconnected, right? So because we have to
Yeah.
do the right thing, no matter what the place where we are, right?
Right.
Let's see question number six. Why do some professionals lose public trusts?
They lose public trust when they act dishonestly, behave unit unethically, break
Mm-hmm,
laws, or fail to fulfill their responsibilities
unethically, okay?
ethically.
Unethically, yeah.
Unethically.
And the one of the most important that I would say it's the unethical behavior, right? So the bad behavior that we got at the moment when we act with others. Good. Let's see question number seven. What qualities make a professional socially responsible?
I think honestly, integrity, respect, empathy, fairness, and commitment to the well-being of society.
Mhm. Yeah. Remember that when we apply those moral values, as you mentioned before, like integrity, empathy, fairness. So the at the end we have to achieve one of the commitment, right? Very good. Let's see the question number 8. Do you think ethics should be mandatory in all university programs? Why?
Yes, I think the ethics should be mandatory because it helps students make responsible decisions and prepares them to act professionally in their future careers.
Yes, remember that when the individual is studying at the university, they are called students, right? But at the end, when they finish their major, so they will become into professions, right? That at the end, if we don't act in the right way, probably will be affecting society. That's good. Let's see the question number 9. How does society influence professional behavior?
Just, I think that society influences professional behavior through cultural beliefs, laws, expectations, social norms, and public accountability.
Yeah, yeah, I'm here. We have to take into considerations so how the laws works, right, and the society and the cultural values that every individual have, right? And of course some cultural beliefs that we got, because remember, for example, so the cultural belief that every person in Managua, it's totally different from people from the Atlantic coast, right? So they got different expectations, they got different regulations, and they got different social norms. That makes sense, right?
Right.
And what about the last question? In your own opinion, the last question, in your own opinion, what is the most important moral value for a professional? Remember that moral values, as I mentioned before, we got loyalty, fairness, integrity, responsibility. Which of those one do you consider that is the most important for you when being a professional person?
Professional play and an important role in society. Their knowledge, skills, and ethical values help create trust, promote justice, and contribute to the common good.
Yes, yes, but which of those moral values do you think is the most important based on your knowledge, based on the professional, on the really good professional that you will be in the future? Which of that moral value do you consider is the most important that that a professional
Uh,
have?
the honestly, trust, and responsibility.
Mm-hmm. Okay, good, good, very good, very good. Now let's move on to this one. And sorry, give me a second. Sorry. So as I mentioned before, Angel, so the social aspect that we got as profession, vocation, and moral conscious. So as profession, when we talk about these ones, we're not just talking about a way how to earn money. Remember that a profession is more than employment, right? It is a social institution, so that we got it. And thinking about it, remember that every profession exists because society has a specific needs. For example, in the education area, so that's part of the society needs some professionals that they are called professors, right? Teachers. And what about in the medical area? So they need doctors. What else?
Nurse,
Nurse. Okay, very good. Some specialists in different sub areas, right? So why?
right?
Because remember that people need healthcare, right?
Yeah.
And remember that when we talk about these kind of areas means that every profession has a social dimension. It is meant to serve the common good, the common well-being, as you mentioned before. That's the social dimension that we got, and it functions based on public trust, because remember that if you do the right thing, probably you're gaining a public trust, and some people can trust on you, right?
Right, right.
And when we do this, when we achieve this, society could give the professionals certain privileges like recognition, like autonomy, like leader in some groups, or even some economic benefits, right?
Yeah.
What about vocation? Do you have some idea about vocations?
Mm, let's see. Um, it's a occupation or calling that professional feels.
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm. Good. Especially, I'm gonna give you two examples, especially in the education area and medical area. So I don't know if you have experienced that there are many teachers that they are really good ones, but they don't have the vocation, they don't have the patience how to transfer the knowledge to the students, right?
Yeah.
And in the other aspect that I told you in the medical area, so there are many doctors that they are seeing the profession like a source of how to earn money, but not how to serve to the community. So that's why that we got different types of negligences, right? But it's this one. So remember that vocation, it's that internal sense of calling, right? So I mean the feeling that you're meant to follow a certain professional path, and it goes beyond choosing a career for money or status, as I mentioned before, right? So remember that in the educational area, a vocation can gives us some skills and some knowledge, but here the vocation gives us a commitment and meaning, right? So a profession, a person or a profession with vocation feels motivated from within. And remember that if you have vocation for doing something, means that you're passionate about what you do, right? About
Yeah.
what you care about others or what you're willing to commit, no matter if it is in long term or short terms. What about now? What about moral conscious? Do you got some idea about it?
Um, no.
No, you don't remember anything about this?
It's a practical judgment of reason that helps an individual recognize whether an action is right or wrong.
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm. Yeah, yeah. Remember that moral conscious, as you mentioned before, it could be like an internal like compass, right? So I mean, it's the ability that we have to distinguish between the right and wrong. And in professional life, this is very essential because remember, professional constantly face dilemmas. Remember that dilemmas are the discussion that we got between two conflicts, right?
Yeah.
And they could be situations where where personal interest, institutional rules, or or social responsibility make conflict. And moral conscious, remember that allows to reflect before acting, and it requires critical thinking. So if we put into practice the moral conscious in this one, means that we probably have or are improving our critical thinking, and this involves understanding consequences through the actions we make. And of course, it demands personal accountability, right?
Yeah.
Something important here, Angel, it's that moral conscience is not automatic. It develops over time. Remember that we need to have some experiences to develop moral conscience. How? Well, if you're studying, in the case of you that you're studying at university, would be through the education, through the university experience that you have during the 5 years of your major. um, Also could be through dialogues that you have been between those people that you have talked to. So the reflection that you have done about those things that you consider you did right or wrong in the past. And of course, the interaction that we got with society. Remember that if you interact with with the people, with the staff of the university, in this case talking about education, so that's the interaction with society, right?
Right.
And on the other hand, without moral conscience, a professional knowledge can be dangerous, right? Okay, very good. Now let's move on to this one. Just for and then as you can appreciate on the screen, we got three types of real life scenarios. You have to choose one of them, okay? And you
Okay.
have to think carefully, you have to think critically. And below the each scenario we got some questions that can be like guidance for you. So I'm gonna give you 4 minutes for analyzing this one and taking into account the questions. It's not for answering the questions, but just they help you to get together your ideas in a logically way, right?
Right.
Okay, 4 minutes more for this one. Choose one of them and analyze it, and then give me your own opinion, taking into consideration the question that we got below. Let me know when you're ready, right?
Ready, teacher.
Okay, good. Could you please read the real scenario you have chosen, please?
Is number one. A doctor discovers that a hospital is hiring medical errors to protect its reputation. Repetition.
Reputation. What do you think about these real scenarios?
Uh, Let me see. So in this case, the doctor has an ethical and society responsibility to protect patients and report the hidden medical errors. Patient safety must come before loyalty to the hospital. More consequence helps the doctor recognize that hiding mistakes is wrong and encourage ethical actions. If the errors remain hidden, patients may be harmed, public trust in healthy care may decrease, and the hospital could face legal and professional consequences. Therefore, transparency and responsibility are essential in professional ethics.
Very good. Very good. Now I got a question for you.
Yeah.
Let's suppose that you are that doctor. What would you do in that case if you discover that?
Um, um,
What would you do in that situation? Because
if I were
remember,
the doctor, yeah,
yeah,
if I were the doctor, I will report the medical errors because the patient safety is more important.
to whom?
Yeah. And and then protecting the hospital reputation.
Yeah,
I will
yeah.
follow
So,
ethical principles. Yeah,
sorry for interrupting you. So you said that if you were the doctor, you
yeah,
would report
yeah.
what the
The
hospital
medical
is doing.
errors.
Yeah,
Yeah.
but to whom? To whom are you going to report that? Because remember that this is the hospital. Probably the superior staff uh, has some knowledge about this one. So to whom would you report this?
Mm, and
It could be, I don't know if you agree with me, but it could be to those institutions who are in charge of regulate how the hospitals work in the right way, right?
right.
Because if you do it, if you report to the director of the hospital, probably that probably the director has some knowledge about this one and he accepted this. So the no way out, you have to report that one to some institutions that regulate the hospital environment and workings there, right?
Yeah.
So at the end, Angel, what do you think could be the possible social consequences with this kind of bad actions?
Um, if if I didn't not report the medical errors, patients could be harmed. The mistake could continue, and the hospital could lose the public trust.
Very good. Very good. Very good. So that that has been all for this session, Angel. See you in the next session. And just to remind you, remember that on the platform we got some summative tasks. So that the summative activity for this session is already on the platform. Please check, read the instructions carefully, and then proceed to complete such assignment, and finally submit it to be checked and graded, right?
Right, right.
So if you don't have any question, that's gonna be all for this one.
And the question.
Okay, see you next session.
See you, teacher.